K9 and Company was the first ever Doctor Who spin-off, airing over Christmas in 1981. It did not become a series, and there would be no more spin-offs until Torchwood and the Sarah Jane Adventures, some 25 years later. I'll be covering both of those when I get to the new series, eventually, so I guess that means that I have to sit through this one as well. The opening credits are one of the best parts. They look like a parody of 1980s opening credit sequences, using all of the cliches of the time to hilarious effect. Rather than have shots of K9 in action, as you might expect, he just sits on a wall while Sarah Jane runs around, gets in a car, has a drink in a pub, and so on. And they obviously didn't film enough footage, as they have to keep repeating shots by the end. The music by real-life Absorbaloff Ian Levine is also quintessentially 80s, with more synthesizers than the soundtrack to Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Definitely one that has to be seen to be believed. After this, we get a scene of devil worshippers chanting in pagan robes, followed by two middle-aged women having a cosy chat in a sitting room. It might seem like a bizarre tonal clash, but it's actually a pretty good indication of what to expect from the rest of the episode. Elisabeth Sladen shows up as Sarah Jane Smith for the first time since The Hand of Fear. She's the best thing about the episode, trying her best to breathe life into an underwritten plot, and soldiering on despite a succession of bizarre outfits. She definitely shows that she's capable of leading the show. It's just a shame that it took 25 years before she got another chance. The other main character is Brendan, played by Ian Sears. He doesn't have a massive amount of screen time as he gets kidnapped halfway through, but he's not too bad. He's another teen genius like Adric or Nyssa, but he seems to have a bit more of a personality, so he could have become a decent sidekick had they made a full series. Aunt Lavinia might also have been intended as a regular, but she's only in 2 scenes and she never actually meets Sarah, so it's hard to tell how that would have worked out. K9 is introduced about 15 minutes in, long after all the kids watching for him would have given up. This is Mark III, but he has the same basic personality as the other two. The only difference is the addition of new sound effects as he wiggles his ears. You would think that they might have upgraded the robot with new abilities so that he could carry his own series, but obviously that wasn't technically possible at the time. Instead, he's reduced to just trundling around slowly and occasionally zapping people, which rather limits what he can do as a character. I think in the Australian K9 show, he's able to fly and do all sorts, but I've never seen that one, and I have no intention of doing so. The actual plot of the show is very thin. Sarah and Brendan think Lavinia has disappeared under mysterious circumstances, although it turns out she actually hasn't, and it was all a misunderstanding. In the course of their investigations, they fall afoul of the local devil-worshipping sect, who kidnap Brendan, but K9 saves the day, helped by Sarah's karate skills. That's about all there is to it, really. It's only 50 minutes long, but it feels really slow. The direction is hopelessly stagey, with endless scenes of dull middle-aged people talking about market gardening. Even the bad guys never feel like much of a threat. They're just a generic evil coven. It's not entirely clear what their motives are. They do try to kill Brendan, but the only person who ends up dead is one of the policemen. And he seems to die of fright more than anything else. So that could just be a coincidence. The movie Hot Fuzz has a similar basic plot, but executes it much better. I don't know if Edgar Wright ever saw this, so it could just be a coincidence. So it's not hard to see why this wasn't turned into a series. It's a shame, really, as there was definitely a gap in the market. The main series had moved on from Earth-based shows, so a K9 series could have filled the gap with Pertwee-style stories of alien invasions and killer robots, possibly bringing back Unit every now and again. But the insistence on not having any sci-fi elements other than K9 kind of ruined it, really. Still, as a proof of concept, it eventually led to the Sarah Jane Adventures, so it all worked out in the end. The DVD has just a handful of extras. The K9 Files is 11 minutes long. There's some brief clips of Elisabeth Sladen, John Leeson, and the director talking about the show, plus a bit about the K9 books written by Dave Martin. There's a 3-minute interview with K9, which is not very funny. And there's a brief clip from Pebble Mill with another K9 interview where he plugs the show and the record of the theme tune. So without much information in then, you have to go to the commentaries to find out more about the background. The text commentary tells you everything about the development of the show. You learn that in one draft K9 was evil and sent by the Master, which would have been a really interesting twist. And the audio commentary is a fun listen, with Elisabeth Sladen giving many insightful criticisms of the show. She really knew her stuff, and is sadly missed. Overall, it's very slow and lacking in drama. It's too adult to appeal to kids and too childish to appeal to adults. So it's not hard to see why it didn't become a series. I'll give it 3. Next week, back to the main show, with the 5th Doctor's first story, Castrovalva. Maybe not one of the best, but there's lots of good ideas in it, so I'm looking forward to seeing it again. So subscribe to see what I thought of that, and I'll see you next time.